The Xmaster Fitness adjustable bench is a beast of burden, and it's nearly perfect. The No Fade channel, checking in. Jonathan here with the commercial grade Xmaster Fitness adjustable bench. And if you haven't heard about Xmaster Fitness, don't fret, don't fuss. They may not have been around as long as the likes of Rogue Fitness, Rep Fitness, or even Titan Fitness, but they are in the game and they are dropping some interesting releases. The one that comes to mind almost instantaneously has to be their hard chrome grip steel plates. They feel nice and smooth, they look beautiful, and they're easy to go on and come off. But we've got their heavy duty adjustable bench and we need to talk about it. Right off the top, you gotta know this can do decline. A lot of you are looking for that FID bench, flat, incline, and decline, and this one delivers. Also, it's rated for 1,000 pounds. I've jumped on this thing. It is solid as a rock, and it's got a massively overbuilt base. When you get on this thing, it doesn't budge whatsoever. It's got some beautiful knurling when it comes to the adjustment pins on the side in terms of raising this up or lowering this down, and I will tell you, it is just a nice touch. Now, this does go all the way up to 85 degrees. And when it comes to overhead shoulder press, I prefer 85 degrees over 90. It just takes a little bit of stress off of my rotator cuff and lets me hit shoulders not only that much heavier, but focus on the muscle a little bit more. Now, a lot of companies claim commercial grade, but they don't really mean it. Well, Xmaster Fitness, yeah, they talk the talk, and yes, they walk the walk. They actually have bolt holes on the back and in the front. So if you're at a local gym and you want to bolt this thing to the floor so that your clients aren't taking this thing up and wheeling it off to Timbuktu, you can do that. Another nice and often overlooked feature is in the front pad. This actually has a pretty aggressive front cutouts because thick thighs save lives. And yes, if you've got thick thighs like me, when you do your incline bench, it's nice not to have your thighs all mashed up in your its and bits. It just feels nicer on your front legs, whether you're doing overhead press or whether you're doing incline bench press. Now, this also comes with a 2-year warranty, and Xmaster Fitness actually has a showroom, I believe, in Rhode Island. So if you're local to that, you can actually just pop in and actually put your keister right on here and feel if it's right for you. Now, speaking of feel, this pad has some really serious grip. I got one of my cast iron 45-pound plates, set this at 30 degrees, and it was rock solid. It didn't budge. I really like the grip. The density on the pad is nice. There's almost no slop or push down on the end of here. And a lot of times when you get some of those budget benches, you'll find that it's firm in the middle, but once you go to the side, it just kind of caves in. Now, we do have a few minor issues that we need to address, and I refuse to overlook, because when you come to this channel, you come for an honest review. Number one is the name, Xmaster. Now, I'm going to tell you straight away, if you just Google Xmaster without actually putting the fitness on the end of that, you're going to get some hanky-panky websites popping up, and I really wish they chose like a different name, even though it's pretty cool with the logo and everything. Leaving that X out of it might have been the way to go. Another issue for home gym users who have limited space, and there are many of you out there, is that it does not store vertically.
No.
Because it can do decline in the way that it's designed, you can't store this vertically unless you really want to rest it on the pad itself, which I wouldn't recommend, because over time, it's actually going to just tear into the pad. That for many of us, if you've never had a vertical storage bench, yeah, once you go vertical storage, you never want to go back, because in a home gym, your stuff's moving around a lot more than a local gym. And not just to clean your home gym, but I'm talking like you're going to do squats. You, of course, want to move your bench out of the way, and you want to store it vertically to give you room to set everything up. And it's just one of those things that if you've never had it before, you certainly don't miss it, because ignorance is bliss. In 2025, we see almost all the benches releasing now with that option. And another issue we need to talk about involves us putting on our physics hats. For those of you that took physics in high school or college, you may remember that there's a thing called moment of inertia. And the way this pivot arm here is located very close to the front of this pad, you are going to find that there's going to be bounce at the end. And what does that mean? It means when you are doing flat bench press, on every rep, you're going to have a little bit of a bounce. When I first noticed it, I thought I just did something wrong with the assembly. I reached out to Xmaster, sent them a video, and they said, nope, that's exactly how it's supposed to be. Now, in terms of safety, you can load up the end of this thing and just put 1,000 pounds on it, jump up and down. It ain't going anywhere. It's safe as can be, but you're still gonna have some bounce. And I tried it with as very little weight, even 135 pounds. And unless you're going ultra slow, you're gonna get bounce on the bottom of a bench press on every rep. Now, I'm not some power lifter that cares about hitting a PR on their bench, and by no means do I lift heavy or have perfect form. But I will tell you, it got annoying quick, and it really kind of got into my head that every time on the downstroke, I got a little bit of a bounce. Now, maybe you could say that's cool because you can get a bounce off the bottom and maybe bench more, but it wasn't something that was up my alley, and it didn't tickle my pickle. It was fairly annoying, and I hope on future iterations of this bench that they are able to move this pivot point out or just firm up the back of here so that there is no bounce. I think a lot of people who are, professional benchers that love to hit PRs on bench, this is going to be a no-fly zone.
Negative Ghost Rider, the pattern is full.
Let's talk about the length of this back pad. And when you are benching or even incline benching on here, plenty long. At least for me, I'm 6'1" and I had plenty of clearance. When I went to do overhead bench press, that my head was over the top, so to speak, when it came to this pad. Now, it didn't interfere with the exercise itself. It was just one of those things I kind of wish it had a few extra inches. Now, for people who are under 6'1" or even like 5'11", they're gonna find this to be plenty high. But if you tend to be on the taller side, you're probably gonna want a longer bench. Now, it only comes in black with silver accents. Even when companies are offering tons of different colors out there, the majority of them are just selling black. So the aesthetics on here is very nice. And obviously black will go with any home gym decor. But I will say it would be nice if they had a few more color options, again, on the next go around. And the biggest issue I found with this bench is one that just hits you in the pocketbook. Yep. Price. And when we buy anything today, that's usually the number one factor you're choosing, because you're not picking this in a bubble. You're comparing this bench to all the other benches on Amazon, online, on Rep, on Rogue, on Titan, and you've got to not only compare the quality, the color, the design, the length, the height, but also the price point. Now, if you go on their website, this is $600 with free shipping. I don't know if they've got discount codes or coupons. I haven't seen many sales from them. I don't know if that's just something because I haven't been aware of it, or if they're a company that keeps the price high, but then drops a massive coupon every couple of weeks, so the prices are more realistic. But $600 is a lot for a bench. It is a premium price point. To give you a reference point, the AB 5200 2.0 from Rep Fitness comes in at like $550, and that's if you get the decline option on that bench. $50, that's not that big of a deal, especially if Xmaster were to throw coupons from time to time. You're probably gonna find that they're about the same price. However, the 5200 is longer. It does do decline. It also can be stored vertically. So right off the top, you've got better benefits in that bench versus this one. The other problem with the 5200, comparing it to the Xmaster, is the color options. You can pick all of the colors you want. I think in total there's something like 36 different color combinations between the rack as well as the risers on there. When you compare just those two benches alone, it makes it hard to pick this one over the Rep Fitness AB 5200. Not because this isn't a fantastic bench, but the price point is just a little bit too high. I would love to see this thing come in at $400. This thing would probably sell off of the shelves like crazy, like hotcakes, if this thing was $400 or even less. But at $600, it's gonna be a tough pill to swallow compared to all the competition, not just Rep Fitness. There are tons of awesome adjustable benches that can do decline, that have vertical storage, and you can pick different colors that you want, and they're gonna come in well under that $600 price point. Now, if you are looking for a middle-of-the-road adjustable bench that gives you all the bells and whistles but doesn't crush your pocketbook, I would absolutely look at the Living Fit adjustable bench. They've got that thing listed at $600 as well, but they have sales every day that ends in Y. Currently, I checked it out, it was like $389 delivered. So that's a great price point, and you can see what I'm getting at. There's tons of fantastic deals out there for what most of us would consider premium benches. At least I would, because of the junk that I've used when I was a kid. The stuff that they're coming out with now is better than what's in the local gyms. So that Living Fit bench at $389 is a steal of a deal. And there's dozens upon dozens of adjustable benches out there. So you've got to choose wisely, figure out what you really need. I know people love their decline in theory, but I know that there's a lot of programming out there in terms of workouts, and almost none of them include decline bench press. I know for me personally, I never decline bench press unless I'm actually testing out a bench for this YouTube channel. It's just not something that I like in terms of an exercise. I don't feel it very much in my chest. It aggravates my rotator cuffs. And ultimately, if it's not good for me in terms of building muscle and it's gonna cause me injury, why would I bother doing it? Now, two things that will absolutely not cost you injury or any money, these two videos. Give them a watch. It helps out the channel immensely, as well as hitting the subscribe button and dropping a like and a comment. As usual, thanks for watching, but don't save anything for the trip back.